All right, guys, so Vapi has just released their new workflow builder, and me and the entire community is very excited about this. We have, of course, an AI community with about 1,200 members or over 1,200 members, and this is right now the most requested video I've had. I have people DMing me on Discord, sending me messages on LinkedIn, WhatsApp messages, all to ask me about this workflow builder. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this step by step and actually go through it, every single part of this workflow builder. Because we're early, Vapi is going to add a bunch of things to this. I think this is actually going to be the core of building agents with Vapi. And I think that because we're early, we can actually go through each one of those nodes and get you familiar with them so that you can have that head start or that good foundation when they're going to be adding more functionality and more opportunities with this workflow builder. So that's the great thing. Let's jump straight into it and see how this works and how you can leverage it for your own company. Right, so let's get into it. This is what we're going to build. We're going to build an automated call review agent. So basically, you've probably already had this on the phone at least once in your life. These very basic agents that the call gets transferred to after you have a customer service call, and it's going to ask the most basic questions about, did you resolve your issue during the call? How would you rate it from 1 to 5? And all of those things. And our Vapi agent is going to do that, and we're going to build that incredibly fast and make it very dynamic. So that's the agent that we're going to build. We have the Vapi workflows, of course, that we're going to set up. This is what it's going to look like. Then we have our agent, in this case Ava, and how to connect that to your Vapi workflow. We're going to send data through an API call to our make.com scenario. It's going to parse the response that we get from our workflow Vapi agent, and then it's going to populate all of these fields in our Google Sheets. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to build workflows for your Vapi agents, how to use that in order to leverage that incredibly low, let's see if I can actually show you guys, the incredibly low latency. So that's 275 milliseconds of latency, which is actually less than you should have. So you can really leverage that and make some very complex and very good agents. But do note that Vapi is still improving this, adding things to it, and I'll guide you through that as well. Okay, so let's set this thing up. Of course, this is the example that I've already built, but now we're going to build it out step by step. All right, so this one we're just going to keep because most of you guys are already pretty familiar with how to make a new Google Sheet. So just go to Google, make an account, make a Google Sheet, and then call it something like automated call review agent. And then in the top row, issue topic, rate service, tone of voice, issue resolved, and politeness. So those are the 5. Is that 5? Yeah, the 5 things that we're going to collect and populate after every call. The point of this demo or example agent is that once you've built this, you can make your customer service automatically transfer calls to this agent, and it's going to go through that flow and populate all of that data that you can use to get more insights on your customer service and how to improve that. All right, but the things that we are going to build step by step are, of course, the make.com and the Vapi. So let's see if I can make that in a new organization. Actually, we don't need to. We can build it in the same organization. So here we are. Okay, so this is Ava. Basically what I did here, I didn't do anything special. You can just click Create Assistant and then blank template and then click something like pre-configured demo, game NPC. It doesn't really matter because one thing that you need to know about Vapi workflows agents is that they connect to your workflow, which means that it doesn't have a system prompt. It only has prompts per node. Now, I think that a system prompt is going to be added, so it can be more dynamic with every node. But right now, you only have a node or a step with every part of the workflow. So that's what we're going to do right here. Oh, let's see, reload page. So we're going to rebuild this thing from scratch. And as you can see, there's a first I'm going to go through it, and then we're actually going to build it to let you know, okay, to understand it and to know how you can make this into your own. Okay, so one thing that's very important to note is that Workflows is now available to all Vapi users in open beta. So it's still in beta. It's not perfect yet. But I would advise you to do is go through this documentation right here. So if you click here, these tabs, Workflows, Tasks, and Conditions. If you go through them, you can already get familiar with, okay, how does this work and how can I utilize it? But as you can see, we've already added every possible node to this example workflow. So let's create this thing. What we're going to call it, just the exact same as our Google Sheet. Now you can just follow along step by step, and then you can also get this agent, and then you will know how to edit it and make it into your own. For now, we're not going to select an assistant yet. We're just going to leave this empty. We're first building the workflow, and then we will attach it to an assistant later. Now, how does this work? You have start call, so this is just the start of the call. You can't change that. Of course, the conversation starts with a call. And then you can add different nodes. Now, by default, you already have a say node, but that doesn't really necessarily have to be your first one. So, for example, what you could also do, if we go here. All right, so these are the different steps that we can add right now. Now, I can imagine that in the future, in actually the near future, Vapi is going to build this out, add a bunch of things, and also make these more extensive, elaborate. But right now, this is already enough that you can build really great things with it. So the first one is say. Basically what that is a very short prompt. So there's actually a character limit on it. You might have already built agents that have a very long prompt. This one isn't necessarily designed for that. I think in the future, Vapi will add a system prompt, or it's already there, but I'm not familiar with it. Read through the documentation, I've tweaked around, but I really can't find it. So what this is currently set up for is for very task-specific prompts. So only an instruction per step. So not necessarily an entire context about your entire company, unless it grabs that from an API call, for example. We'll get into that. But every step has its own prompt. Now, you have a say node, which is obvious, of course. If you add a say step, then you have two options, either a prompt or exact. And basically what that difference is if a call were to start right now, and the instruction is say hello, then your agent will say something like, hello, thanks for calling, how can I help you? So even by just saying say hello, it's going to turn that into something natural. Now, exact is going to mean that it says exactly say hello. So it doesn't say hello, it says say hello, if that makes sense. So it's going to say exactly what you're going to type here. Now, if you, for example, if you look at the assistants, you can compare that to the first message. So that's always the same thing. So if you want it to have the same greeting message, then you can use exact. Now, in the example that we're going to build right now, we're actually using this specific exact text. So this is what it picks up the phone with. Hello, this is an automated call to collect feedback about your recent experience with our service. Do you have 1 minute for a quick review? So that's exactly what it's going to say in this flow. All right, so that's going to be our first node is say. So it's going to say something out loud. Now, the way that you can actually collect data in here is you can't, right here, as you might have noticed, you can't tell it to collect certain data or add data into the flow that you can use later. You actually have to add a step for that. So the gather step or node tells the previous node what kind of information it has to extract from that conversation. So basically, if you have a first step, and in this first step, it asks, do you have a time for a quick review? You can't get that data and use it in your flow in this first node. You have to add another one that tells the last one to get that information. So this will all make sense. If this is confusing right now, it will make sense once we build it out. All right, so gather is the node that we're going to add and create specific values that the assistant will ask for. So basically, what we're going to add here is a Boolean. So type is Boolean. Now, Boolean, string, number. if you see my second to last JSON video, which I highly recommend you guys watch, because that's the number one thing that I get asked the most, where people get errors, is in JSON. And so that's the number one thing that people are running into. But my JSON video, where we really lay it out step by step, is my least viewed video. So if you're running into any JSON issues, I really would advise you to watch my second to last video. But in any case, just for now, we have string, number, and boolean. Well, string is just a piece of text in quotes. Number is, well, it already says it, a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 million. And boolean is true or false and nothing else. Now in this case, we're going to get a boolean. So we want our agent to give us a true or a false. And the name is going to be has time, right here. And then the description is going to be this right here. So now this is something we're still trying to figure out and tweak around with. It's very new, of course. So how does this description have to be formatted to make it work well? You're going to have to figure it out, try it out, see what works for you, how to make it more predictable. Right now, I'm just telling it yes is true and no is false. So that knows it's a boolean, and that seems to work quite well. All right, so boolean whether, I think there's supposed to be an H there. Whether the caller has time for a quick review. Yes is true, no is false, wait for their answer. And then we're going to make this required, so it actually has to give that output because we're going to need it in the next step. Right, so now we've already added 2 steps, and we're going to go to the next one. Now, the next one is going to be condition. So based on what the output is of the first step, we're going to add this condition, and then we have 2 options. But the next step for both of those options will be say. So the funny thing about a condition is that you can't change a condition. A condition you only change on its branches. So how does that make sense? This one you can click on and you can edit it. This one you can click on and you can edit it. Same with these ones. But with conditions, you're editing the branch. So the branch is going to be your logic. So in this case, this first branch is going to be if has time, which is generated here, equals true. Then that means that this person has time for a quick review, and then it will go through this branch. Now if we click on the second one, and we're going to say has time equals false, the person has said that they don't have time, and so they will it will take this branch. Now, what will that look like? In the first one, we're going to use exact again, and then we're going to say on a scale from 1 to 5, how satisfied were you with the service? So that's the next question is going to ask. And then if the person says, no, I don't have time for you right now, for example, they're upset or they really don't have time, it's going to say this message: I completely understand. Before I hang up the phone, would you like me to transfer you back to our human agent? Now, let's first build out this branch because that's a very short one and it's going to have another logic. Because of course, based on this, it's going to either transfer the call or end the call. Right, so the next node we're going to add is gather. Create specific values that the assistant will ask for. So again, we're basically going to do the exact same thing here. We're going to gather that boolean. Do they want to be transferred back to a human agent, or do they just want us to hang up the phone? So the name is going to be transfer call. Description is going to be whether the call wants to be transferred back to a human. Yes is true, no is false. And then type is going to be boolean again, and the output is required. All right. And then we can use that data in the next step, which is condition. And then condition has 2 possibilities. Either it's going to transfer the call or it's going to end the call. All right. And then we have to set that logic, of course. So this branch is going to be transfer call equals false. Let's see. No is false, no transfer. Okay, yes. Okay, so this one's going to be false, don't want to be transferred, so just hang up the phone. And this one is going to be true. So they do want to be transferred back to a human agent. True. All right. And then you might notice that if we click save right now, it's going to give us an error, and it's actually going to tell us what is wrong. So if we look here, no destination on this node. So we're going to go here, and we're going to add a phone number right there. So we're going to try that phone number, hit save, and then this branch is finished. So quickly, to help you understand how that works, it's going to start the call. It's going to literally say, hello, this is an automated call to collect feedback now, etc. It's going to collect that value so that we can use it to determine which branch do we have to take. If the person says no, it's going to be false. It takes this branch. Then it's going to ask, do you want to be transferred to human agent? And then based on what they say, no is this branch, and then yes is this branch. They're actually going to be transferred to a human agent. Right, so that's the first branch finished, but of course that's not the purpose of this agent. We want to build an agent that can gather all of that information from the customer. So let's build that out. Right, so if we go back here, in this case, the person has said that they do have time for a quick review. So the first question is going to be, on a scale from 1 to 5, how satisfied were you with the service? Now, we're just going to do exact questions for now, but we also add prompts. So all of the possibilities of the workflows, we're going to go through them one by one. Now, of course, it's not going to generate that value that we're able to use in the workflow by itself. So we're going to have to add a gather node right here. And yeah, that one is going to be like this. Rate service, and then description, and then string is going to be number. And then that output is required again. Now do know something you also can do is if you add a say node right here, and then ask the next question, like, did our representative handle your request professionally and politely? Asks that question. It can gather information and value from both of those. So I can already add this one, politeness boolean, first name of the customer. Oh, is this one. Whether the caller thinks the call was polite and professional. Yes is true, no is false. Again a boolean. And then this output is required. It's going to look at both of those steps and then based on that populate this. But just for now, to make it a little easier to understand and keep track of, we're going to undo that. So we're going to do it step by step. Every say node has its own gather node. Oh, that's strange. Didn't we add a gather node right here? Oh yes, of course, that's this one. All right. So let's test this one. Right. And then delete this one right here. Add that one. Perfect. And then this one also needs a gather node. Perfect. All right. And then this one is going to look like this. Politeness boolean, going to have a description. And this is basically just telling the AI how to make its decision. That's basically what it is. So you can prompt it in any way you like, and you can really test that out to see what works best with your specific flow. Save that one. All right, so now we're 2 questions deep. We can do another one, another say. We want more data from our caller. So we're gonna add another say module. Was your issue resolved to your satisfaction? And then another one, gather information, issue resolved. Now this is the last static one, and then we're going to add some dynamic ones. Issue resolved. Was the issue resolved during the call? Yes is true, no is false. And then just another boolean. Perfect. Oh, and of course this one, rate service has to be, number, perfect. Yes, boolean, all right. Looks good. And then another say, so another step, another thing that we're going to ask. And this one is going to be a prompt. So that means that the AI can actually, based on the conversation that it's had, the answers that it's had, the questions that it has asked, it can generate its own dialogue. And we're going to give it a prompt instead of an exact text to say out loud. Ask the caller about the issue that was discussed and whether there is any way we could improve our customer service. Perfect. So that means that we can gather some more dynamic data. So we're going to add another gather node, and we're going to add 2 variables. So not one, but multiple variables to that one. Issue topic, summarize the issue that the caller has discussed in the call and their satisfaction. This is a string, of course, because it's description between quotes. It's just regular text. And then another one is going to be tone of voice. So judge the customer's emotional response to this questionnaire, whether they're satisfied with it or not, if they get frustrated by it, for example, because we want to collect all of that information. All right, perfect. So now we have 2 branches. We have, of course, first we're going to ask, are you actually available for making, for this questionnaire? And then it's going to take any branch based on their request. And if they are, it's going to gather all of this information. And then we will be able to use this one, for example, later on in the flow. So you don't have to worry about where do you add these gather nodes. It's going to save all of that data at any part of the flow. So if I add a node right here, I'm actually going to be able to use all of that data that we've collected throughout the entire flow. Now, what we're going to do right here is the real gold of these workflows, of course. We're going to add API requests node. And that's what we're going to use in order to send that data to our automated call review agent. Right, so what I'm going to do, because this is not a very complicated one, so I'm just going to show you what that looks like. You're going to go to make.com. You're going to go to scenario. Now, of course, you can also you can do it with anything like NADEM, for example. But just to make it a bit easier to understand, you're going to go to make.com. You can do this with a free account. Go to scenarios, create a new scenario. Click that first module right here. And then add webhook. So custom webhook. And then you click add webhook and then name it anything like automated call review, for example. It's going to look like this. Copy that address to clipboard and add it right here. Right, so that's where it's going to send our data to, so that we can build another flow right here. All right, so JSON, JSON string. Let's see. Okay, so the output of this webhook is going to be a JSON string, and we're going to have to parse that JSON with a parse JSON module right here. Actually, let's just completely delete all of this. I'll just show you what that looks like step by step. All right, so you've added your webhook. Or actually, what we could also do is let's first make that call. Now, this is something that Vapi is actually going to be adding in the future, if I'm not mistaken. You can't just send test data right now. If you look at this, we have no way of sending actual test data. So we have to make the call in order to make the agent send that data. All right, so, but there's of course some more information that we're gonna have to add. Okay, so let's first set up the flow, then we set up the make.com automation, and then we connect that to the Google Sheet, and then we test the full agent, because we're gonna have to add some variables in here, of course, for the agent to send to our server. All right, so what we're going to do is we're gonna add body, which is the data or the information that is going to be sent to our server. In this case, the value is going to be a variable. So insert variable. And then this is going to be tone of voice. Wait, that makes no sense. Issue topic, tone of voice. That's not right. Let's see. Issue topic, yes. Okay. Yeah, we don't really have to add a description since we're using a static value that's already generated. We don't necessarily have to tell the AI how to interpret this or what to populate this with, because we've already populated it with a value. But for example, if this was going to be something else, you could give it a description on how to populate this. But for now, let's add tone of issue topic, a variable. Now this is going to be a string. Add another one, which is going to be has time. You don't necessarily have to call the key the exact same as the value, but I just think that's an easy way to tell them apart. And then politeness. Just call this politeness. add body, issue resolved. Perfect. And then tone of voice, let's add that one. Tone of voice. Let's see, do we have all of them now? Issue topic, has time, issue resolved, tone of voki. Tone of voki. Right, tone of voice, and then add body. That's going to be has time, rate service. Oh yes, of course, rate service. Perfect. Right, now we have all of them, but of course they're not all strings. So rate service is a number, and then tone of voice is a string, issue resolved is a string, politeness is a boolean. So I'm going to change that into boolean. Has time also is a boolean. Has time, we don't necessarily have to send that, of course, because this branch is only taken when they do have time, so we already know that. Let's see, has time can be deleted. String, issue topic, issue resolved, rate service, tone of voice. Okay, issue resolved is also a boolean. Yes. Perfect. Let's save that. Now that's not our last step. We're going to add another node. We're going to test this out later, but let's first finish the workflow, and then we can test it out and build out the make.com. All right, so say, I'm going to add another prompt right here. Thank the caller for their time and ask if they would like to hang up or we transfer it back to a human agent. Now, based on that, we're going to specify, are they going to be transferred to a human agent or are we going to hang up the phone? And it's the exact same thing, of course. So name is going to be transfer call. Description is whether the caller wants to be transferred to a human. Yes, no. And then that's going to be a boolean. Yes. And then the next step is going to be condition. So based on what they choose, we're going to give a specific output. Add a plus right here. And then we have two options. Both are say and say. And then this one's going to be thank you for your time. So it's going to be exact and not a prompt. It's literally going to say this. And the second one is going to be this right here. I'll transfer your call. And then we have to set up that logic. So add logic condition, transfer call equals true. And then the second one is transfer call equals false. Perfect. And then of course we actually do have to hang up the phone, or else that would be quite strange. And then this one is going to be transfer call. And again, we're going to use some random phone number. Let's see. Right. Okay, so we've built out the entire flow, and if we save it and we don't get errors, that means that it will actually, or it should actually work when we make that call to our agent. So I'm quickly going to grab my headset right here, and we're going to actually call that agent and try this flow out. Now I'm going to delete this one just so I can't get confused, and add it to our new agent. So yeah, back with you guys in a bit. Right, so here we are again. This is not going to be complicated. You can just create an assistant and then add a blank template, for example. And then you're going to see something like this. And then make sure that with the provider, you're going to use Vapi. It's not OpenAI, Anthropic, or all the other newly added, by the way, LLMs. But you're going to choose Vapi and then attach a workflow. And you're going to select the workflow right here and then automated call review agent. And then add to existing workflow. You're going to get transferred back here, but of course we're going to want to make that test call. So I hope you guys can actually hear this when I make that call. We're going to try out this flow. Oh, going to get workflow ID. ID does not exist. Oh, we're on Gino's Pizza. We need Ava. Let's see. Does this one work? Let's try it out. Yes.
Hello, this is an automated call to collect feedback about your recent experience with our service. Do you have 1 minute for a quick review?
Yeah, sure.
On a scale from 1 to 5, how satisfied were you with the service?
I think I was reasonably satisfied.
Got it. On a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the most satisfied, how would you rate the service you received?
I would say 3.
Did our representative handle your request professionally and politely?
Yes, somewhat.
Was your issue resolved to your satisfaction?
Yes, I think it was.
Sounds good. Could you share what you've been discussing? I'd love to know how we can improve our customer service for you.
Well, we've been discussing ways where I could integrate your system with our own CRM, and well, he had to figure something out and had to talk to some people inside the company. It took a little longer than expected, but on the other hand, he did put in the extra effort to actually give me the correct answers, so that's a good thing.
Got it. It sounds like the issue with the CRM did take some time, but the effort to get the correct answers was appreciated. Could
Yes,
you
that's
please
right.
tell Could you describe the tone of voice you experienced during this interaction? Was it positive, neutral, or negative?
Um, I think it was positive to neutral, somewhere in between there. It was just very not not
Thanks
remarkable.
for your time. Would you like to be transferred back to a human for further assistance?
um, no, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye. All right, perfect. So that's finished it. Let's see, we got the example data. So that means that we can actually build out the flow and make this work as intended. So that's the last step. Of course, we're going to have to turn this flow into something that populates these fields in Google Sheets. So this is going to turn that JSON right here into values that we can use. And then this one is going to add that data to our Google Sheet. So let's look it up right here, spreadsheet ID. Now we don't actually have to look for that. If we go right here, you can see this is in the URL, our spreadsheet ID right here. So we can just copy that, go back in here, and then go enter manually, spreadsheet ID. And this is going to be for American or English speaking people, this is going to be sheet 1. But since I'm Dutch, it's going to be blad 1, blad 1. So next step is going to be adding a column range. This doesn't really matter if you don't have very long columns. And then, of course, we're going to populate all of these values. So just to get them as an example, we're going to run it through here. So we're going to copy all of that and right-click this, run once, and then get all of those values, as you can see right here. And then we're going to add them to our sheet. Let's see. It's going to have to load that up. It's not loading it up. That's strange. Sometimes make.com has what I call a small hiccup. I think that's the case right here. All right. Clone a module. Perhaps that's going to solve it. Enter manually. There we are. Okay, so let's copy this ID. Perfect. Sheet name is going to be 1. Column range is going to be A to Z. And then, let's see. All right. And then the values are going to be, let's see, what's the issue topic, rate service, tone of voice. Issue topic, rate service, tone of voice. And then issue resolved and politeness. Issue resolved and politeness. Perfect. We can save this. And now we actually have our customer service agent. So that's that. If we make another call, it's going to be able to go through that flow again and populate that data. So let's try that out again and then yeah, see if it works.
Hello, this is an automated call to collect feedback about your recent experience with our service. Do you have 1 minute for a quick review?
Yes, sure.
On a scale from 1 to 5, how satisfied were you with the service?
A 5. I was very satisfied.
Did our representative handle your request professionally and politely?
Yes, I think he did.
Thank you. Could you tell me if you felt the call was polite and professional?
Oh, yes, very.
Was your issue resolved to your satisfaction?
Oh, definitely.
Great to hear. So the issue has been resolved during the call?
Yes.
Got it. Can you remind me what we were discussing? And is there anything you think we could do better on our end?
Yeah, I just had some problems logging in. Apparently, I was using the wrong password. I don't see any way that you can improve this. I was very satisfied with, yeah, with the talk or with customer service.
Thanks for your patience. Would you like to hang up now, or should I transfer you back to a human agent for further assistance?
No, you can hang up. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye. All right, so there we go. All right, guys, so thank you for watching that video. I hope it helped you and helps you get familiar with how to work and build with Vapi workflows. One quick thing that I also wanted to mention before I dive into this, I just remembered that you actually, and this is actually very, very good if you're familiar with transient agents. Something that they've added is code, as you can see right here. So basically how I would imagine you doing this is you wouldn't write entire workflows just in JSON. You log into Vapi, build your workflow right here. And if you're working with transient agents, you're more on that advanced level. You can click code right here and add this to your agent or reference it by ID, of course. So yeah, that's just a quick heads up. That's how you can use it in your transient agents. So thank you for watching that video. I hope it helped you and helps you get familiar with workflows. I think it opens your mind because just by the fact that they've added HTTP or API calls has made it like there's a million things that you can do with workflows already, but they're adding a bunch of things in the very near future. All right, so I've also had a bunch of questions from my viewers about how can we actually work with you, because of course I run an automation agency and I don't talk a lot about this in my videos. Of course, we have the member platform and the member community. It's around 1,200 people in there right now, or over 1,200, nearly 1,500 actually. And I get asked about this a lot. So the way we've decided to go about this is working with a builder and a partner model. So working with builders and partners, because I've noticed that those are actually the people that are watching my videos. We have people that are familiar with any of these platforms that we're working with. Now, NADN isn't on here, but that's actually the core platform that we're using to build automations for our clients. We're self-hosting NADN in DigitalOcean, either in their environments or our own, and build automations for their that integrate with their existing infrastructure or build something around that. So basically this is a call to action to builders and partners. Now the way that we make that divide is builders are the ones that we work with and that we hire in order to deliver solutions to our clients. And this is the usual tech stack that we're working with. Now, of course, our platform of choice is Vapi. Retail is getting more and more popular, but our core business is built on Vapi. And yeah, the main platforms that we're building with are Superbase, Twilio, Telnix, Vercel, Make.com, of course, Airtable, Software to make a nice front end. You name it. If you're familiar with these platforms, you're like, hey, I think Jasper has cool videos, has a cool team. You can just reach out to me and see if we can work together. We're getting actually bombarded since my last few videos did quite well. We're actually getting bombarded with new projects. And yeah, really looking for that team that can deliver on this very well and that we can scale with and work with. We really want to grab a very, very big chunk of the voice AI space or agent AI space internationally. And we've got some very new recent partnerships that are going to help us build that out. And that's the other side of the business. All of those partnerships, or most of them, has come through my YouTube videos. So I know that there's people out there who are like, okay, I'm not a builder. I think it looks really good, but I'm really good at selling. I'm really good at marketing. I think that this space is big enough for all of us. And I think that the team at Flireo and Jasper is familiar with how to build good agents. So you want to leverage our ability and our services, and in a way that we can work together. You do the sales, you find the clients, you already have a network that you can introduce us to, and then we can build something out together. So those are the two camps. So I'll actually be adding a form in the description below that you can click on, and then you can choose two paths. I'm a builder or I'm a partner. If you're a builder, we'd like to work with you on delivering on these projects with our clients. And if you're a partner, of course, you have a network, you have an opportunity, you're like, I'm a great sales guy. And well, this space is just too big and the opportunity is too huge to let any opportunity go to waste. So you can fill in that path and we can work together. We have an entire infrastructure that we're working on in order to make that work well and flawlessly and give you everything that you need in order to build this into something sustainable, predictable, and profitable, of course. So in any case, thank you very much for watching this. Looking forward to speaking with you guys and looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video.